You will get a jolt of realization in the next few moments. Something so unmistakable, it could turn your entire framework of understanding on its head. If your pulse just jumped or your mind feels electrified, listen to that signal. There's a massive breakthrough about to burst into your life. But here's the twist. Spirit doesn't merely want you to adapt or go along with it. You're being nudged to flip the script entirely. Changing the rules of the game isn't a suggestion. It's an invitation for you to rise in ways you might have once considered impossible. So, if you've been feeling a quiet push that your old methods won't cut it anymore, take this as your sign. You're on the edge of something that can't be contained by the norms you used to obey. Do one small, potent move. Tap like, subscribe if you haven't, and drop 77 in the comments as a resounding signal to the universe that you're open to rewriting your destiny. Then leave another comment that declares, ready for what's next, because that tiny moment of intention can reverberate through places you don't even see. Stay tuned, especially until Chapter 4, because there's one crucial piece hidden there that ties together why this massive shift is unstoppable and how to ensure you harness it rather than let it pass you by. Right now, your daily life might appear ordinary on the surface. The same faces, the same loops. Yet somewhere in your gut, you sense the quake. Call it an urge to break routine or a sudden craving for uncharted territory. You might not have words for it yet, but it's real. A stirring that your game is about to upgrade. The universe itself is leaning in to guarantee you don't miss the shot. We're diving into 7 chapters that reveal not just the what, but the how and why of taking control, changing the rules, and stepping into the potent future that's been waiting for you all along. Chapter 1. The tremors that hint you're due for a new game. Imagine waking up one morning and sensing something's off, but not in a bad way. More like the air has a crackle of possibility. Maybe you glimpse the time on your phone, 9:09, 11:11, or some repeating pattern, and it registers as more than coincidence. Or you find yourself daydreaming about a radically different life, then shrug it off, telling yourself you're being unrealistic. Yet the dream refuses to die, popping back into your mind at odd intervals, as if it's determined to carve out a spot in your future. These subtle tremors often mark the beginning of a huge shift. It's like feeling a faint vibration before an earthquake. Nothing dramatic on the outside, yet internally you know something's brewing. The universe uses these gentle nudges to ensure you don't brush aside the signs that the old game you've been playing no longer fits. Perhaps it's a restlessness you can't pin on anything specific, or a random surge of creativity that begs for expression, despite your logical mind's skepticism. Take a moment to recall any patterns you've noticed lately. Repeated images in your dreams, odd synchronicities like someone mentioning a city you've always been curious about, or stumbling across a book that resonates so strongly it feels like it was written for you. These are not random events. They're more like a cosmic hand on your shoulder whispering, pay attention. There's more ahead. One exercise you might try. Pick a day, maybe tomorrow, where you vow to remain ultra observant. Jot down every weird coincidence or intuitive hunch, no matter how trivial. At night, review your list. You might see a theme, like everything points to a new career, or all signs say you should adopt the hobby you've been putting off. These patterns often confirm that your game is itching to expand, and you're the one holding the pieces. Some people around you might sense your vibe shifting too. Maybe a coworker says, "You seem different, less stressed," or a friend remarks, "You've got this glow about you." If that's happening, it's an external echo of internal changes. Often the universe ropes in the folks around you to highlight that you're evolving. Their comments might spark your awareness even before you consciously realize how much you've changed. And then there's the friction. When the universe preps you for a massive shift, you might clash with old patterns. Tasks you once did without question start feeling tedious or meaningless. You might find yourself irritated by the day-to-day grind that once felt normal. That agitation can be your soul signaling you're outgrowing the current version of your life. In this sense, annoyance or boredom can be strong indicators you're on the brink of rewriting the rules. This friction might also manifest in relationships. People who were fine with your old compliant self might sense you won't play that part anymore. They could push back or stir. Drama, but in reality, they're responding to the tremors in your energy. If you respond from a calm place, acknowledging you're outgrowing certain roles or dynamics, you sidestep unnecessary battles. Instead, you let them witness your transformation, whether they adapt or not. A caution: it's easy to dismiss these tremors, telling yourself you're overthinking. Don't. If you repeatedly catch that sense of, "I'm meant for more," trust it. That restlessness rarely arises out of nowhere. It's typically an alarm that your spirit is outgrowing the constraints you've accepted so far. If you quell the alarm out of fear or laziness, you might stave off discomfort, but also stall your own evolution. So treat these tremors seriously. They herald that moment when the universe, having laid the groundwork, awaits your readiness to shift into a bigger play. By acknowledging these tremors for what they are, preludes to something huge, you build confidence in the inevitability of your growth. That confidence acts like a magnet, attracting resources, insights, and allies you'll need. Then when the real quake hits, when the game's rules demand rewriting, you'll step forward unflinchingly, seeing it as the next logical step rather than a shocking detour. By then, you'll have known for a while that the old world was too cramped for your emerging potential, and you'll greet the new realm with open arms and a grin that says, "I saw you coming." Chapter 2. Why Spirit Urges You to Rewrite the Rules. When you sense a calling to change the rules of the game, it might sound grandiose. But consider that most of our daily routines, beliefs, and social norms are inherited or passively absorbed. We follow them because that's how it's done. Yet Spirit, or the deeper guiding force you resonate with, sees beyond these constraints. It knows you didn't come here to live by a stale script that stifles your unique gifts or your capacity to uplift others. The universe doesn't demand you burn everything down in rebellion. It nudges you to question the framework you operate in. Are these rules serving your growth or merely confining you? Sometimes you realize certain beliefs like, "I must work a job I hate just for security," or "I can't pursue my creative passion because it's not practical," originate from social conditioning, not spiritual truth. Spirit beckons you to see that if a rule contradicts your inner compass, you have the power to modify or discard it. Rewriting the rules doesn't always mean anarchy or dramatic confrontation. It can manifest in quieter revolutions, forging a new approach to relationships that values transparency over mind games, or building a work routine that prioritizes mental health instead of glamorizing burnout. In these subtle shifts, you illustrate that old norms aren't gospel. They're simply default settings you can override. So why does Spirit push you now? Because your readiness has peaked. Perhaps you've done the introspection, maybe journaling or therapy, that reveals how certain assumptions sabotage your joy or stifle your purpose. Or you've witnessed how others flourish once they step beyond society's constraints, igniting your curiosity. Spirit recognizes that you're ripe for a liberating perspective, that you're not too weighed down by fear or self-doubt to attempt a new approach. A small action might be to pick one outdated rule you've unconsciously followed, like always saying yes to social events, even when you crave solitude, and flip it for a week. Each invitation that doesn't spark genuine interest, decline politely. Observe your emotional response. Do you feel guilt, relief, or empowerment? This micro-experiment shows how rewriting a simple rule can yield massive shifts in your well-being and personal authority. The takeaway is that if small rule changes can do that, bigger ones can radically transform your life's direction. Sometimes it's not just about your personal comfort. You might sense your shift benefits a larger community or social circle. Maybe your decision to be radically honest in your relationships encourages friends to drop their facades. Or your choice to leave a toxic workplace inspires coworkers to reflect on whether they too deserve better. Spirit often leverages individuals to spark collective evolution. By rewriting your personal rules, you inadvertently become a catalyst for those around you, and that ripple effect is exactly what the universe intends. Then there's the angle of authenticity. Living under generic one-size-fits-all rules can numb your soul. If you're an artist trapped in a stifling corporate mold, your creativity withers. If you're a caregiver, but you've been taught never to show vulnerability, your empathy might remain superficial. Rewriting your rules aligns your external life with the inner blueprint you came with. It's not about ignoring responsibilities, but about fulfilling them in ways that echo your spiritual identity rather than suppress it. Of course, rewriting doesn't guarantee a frictionless path. Those invested in the status quo might resent your liberation. Some might label you unrealistic or rebellious. Spirit wants you to realize that's part of the journey. If your new approach triggers hostility or confusion, it might confirm that you're breaking ground others dare not tread. Yet your quiet determination to live from a higher truth may eventually inspire them to question their own limiting beliefs. Ultimately, Spirit's call to rewrite the rules is about you stepping into a role of conscious architect in your own life. No more autopilot. No more molding yourself to frameworks that hamper your evolution. The universe sees you've got the courage and insight to craft guidelines that match your soul's frequency. Guidelines that serve both your personal flourishing and your capacity to contribute meaningfully to the world. Now it's your move. Will you edit the manual of your life or keep flipping pages of a script that never truly resonated? The push is there. The readiness is real, and rewriting awaits your bold pen. Chapter 3. Why a massive breakthrough comes when you least expect it. It's common to imagine breakthroughs as carefully orchestrated events, like you plan meticulously, then everything falls into place exactly on schedule. Reality, however, often flips this notion. The biggest leaps in life tend to appear suddenly, at moments you least anticipate. You might be drudging through a routine day, half-heartedly meeting obligations, when a phone call, an encounter, or a flash of insight jolts your entire trajectory. That's the nature of the universe. It sneaks up with cosmic surprises when your defenses are down, ensuring you won't sabotage or over-control the process. Why does this element of surprise matter? Because if you saw the breakthrough coming from miles away, you'd likely try to manage every detail, inadvertently strangling the organic flow. Spirit wants the momentum raw and free, letting the puzzle pieces fall in ways your logical mind could never have arranged. By catching you off guard, it ensures you approach the shift with openness rather than preconceived strategies. It's a bit like when you're forced to improvise. You often tap deeper creativity than if you'd planned forever. Another reason for unpredictability is that big change demands readiness you can't fake. You might claim you're prepared, but only life's curveballs confirm how deep your resilience or willingness truly goes. By dropping a breakthrough in your lap unannounced, the universe tests your capacity to adapt. If you rise to the occasion, it cements your new baseline. If you shrink back, it reveals you need more internal prep. Either way, you glean vital insights about where you stand. Think about a time you felt stuck, then a random opportunity whisked you out of inertia. Maybe you were job hunting with zero leads, then an old friend recommended you somewhere spontaneously, and you landed a role that advanced your career leaps ahead. Or you were nursing heartbreak, convinced you'd never love again, when you bumped into someone in a bookstore who became your next significant relationship. The unpredictability was precisely what broke your cycle of hopelessness or cynicism. A small exercise. Reflect on 3 major positive shifts in your life: career, relationships, or personal achievements. How many arrived exactly as planned versus those that erupted unexpectedly? Usually, the biggest leaps come from the latter category. Note any patterns in how you reacted. Did you embrace them eagerly or resist at first? Understanding your past responses can help you handle future surprises with more grace and excitement. Yet it's not about sitting idle, waiting for cosmic grace. You still do your part. You hone your skills, keep your heart open, and maintain a certain readiness. This daily commitment sets the stage for serendipitous events. Essentially, you're building an internal environment conducive to miracles. Then at some seemingly random moment, the universe says, "Now," and you have the mental and emotional infrastructure to seize the chance. Sometimes a breakthrough arrives disguised as turmoil. A sudden job loss might appear catastrophic until it frees you to relocate or start a business. A conflict with a friend might seem painful, only to spotlight emotional patterns you must outgrow, pushing you into deeper maturity. When you interpret these upheavals as potential breakthroughs instead of crises, You transform adversity into the pivot that leads to a bigger life chapter. Additionally, Spirit might orchestrate divine delays to align perfect timing. You might have prayed for a new house or a creative contract, but it got postponed. Then just when you surrendered your expectations, an opening surfaces that is even better than what you envisioned. This teaches patience, humility, and an openness to the universe's sense of timing, which often surpasses your narrower plans. Ultimately, breakthroughs blindside you for your own benefit. They bypass your rigid control, awaken latent courage or innovation, and confirm that your path is guided by a wisdom beyond pure logic. The best approach is to cultivate a flexible, prepared mindset so that when lightning strikes, you can harness its energy rather than cower. That's how sudden leaps become a joyous ride. You're secure in your daily discipline and self-awareness, but you keep your heart and mind open for that lightning bolt opportunity you never saw coming. Chapter 4. The crucial factor that turns a breakthrough into permanent transformation. Here's the piece of the puzzle you absolutely can't skip. Sustainability. Lots of people get sudden breakthroughs, like a windfall, an unexpected romance, or an artistic spark, only to watch them fizzle into a memory. What separates those who leverage the catalyst into genuine lasting transformation is the ability to integrate the breakthrough into their lifestyle and mindset. It's one thing to be momentarily lifted. It's another to incorporate that lift so thoroughly that you never regress. Why is sustainability so pivotal? Because a breakthrough often comes with a surge of euphoria. You feel invincible, as if you've cracked life's code. That high is intoxicating, but it can fade if not grounded in consistent effort and self-reflection. For instance, if you land a dream project but don't reshape your daily habits to match the project's demands, you could sabotage it. If you find a soul-stirring relationship but fail to heal old wounds, you'll replay past patterns that erode the new connection. A small exercise to anchor breakthroughs. Whenever you experience a leap, be it a personal realization or an external reward, take an hour to dissect its components. Ask, what led me here? Which habits, mindsets, or intuitive hunches made this possible? How can I keep them alive? By mapping out these elements, you see the blueprint that gave rise to your success. Then, you consciously preserve and refine them, turning a brief highlight into a sustained new normal. There's also the matter of identity. People sometimes get anxious that they're not the type of person who maintains high-level achievements. That anxiety can lead to self-sabotage. Recognizing this, you anchor your new identity by telling yourself, "This is who I am now." Each time you repeat that phrase after a positive milestone, you train your subconscious to accept your upgraded reality as standard, not an anomaly. Watch out for ego traps. A big success can inflate your sense of superiority, and ironically, that can ruin sustainability. You might slack off, convinced you've arrived, or become condescending to those who aren't at your level. Either approach poisons your growth. The best stance is humble pride, acknowledging your accomplishment while remembering there's always more to learn and new challenges to conquer. This humility keeps you open to further guidance rather than closed off by pride. Another subtle factor is community. Who you surround yourself with post-breakthrough matters immensely. If you remain in circles that belittle your new perspective, you might revert to old norms. Conversely, if you find or cultivate a network of people who also strive for higher levels, mentors, peers, or friends who applaud your evolution, you collectively reinforce each other's progress. This synergy helps lock in your transformation more powerfully than going solo. Also note that sustainability often requires an evolving structure. Let's say you've manifested a new job or a bigger creative platform. The time management or emotional boundaries that worked for you previously might not suffice anymore. You might need stricter boundaries around rest or more disciplined routines to handle an increased workload. If you cling to outdated systems, your success becomes chaotic. So adapt quickly. Reevaluate your schedules, set new goals, or adopt new skill sets that match the expanded reality. Lastly, keep fueling your spiritual or introspective practice. Whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or mindful walks, Maintain whatever method keeps you aligned with your deeper self. Often, after a big leap, the excitement can overshadow daily reflection. That's risky. Without a regular dose of introspection, you might lose the very clarity that propelled you. So continue checking in with your inner compass, ensuring your choices and attitudes remain coherent with your upgraded identity. Combining all these elements, awareness of what sparked the breakthrough, identity reinforcement, a supportive circle, adaptive structures, and continued self-reflection, creates a robust framework that doesn't just celebrate a one-time jump, but nurtures ongoing ascension. That's the crux, to see your breakthrough not as a peak moment, but as a new baseline from which further expansions can unfold. If you integrate that crucial factor, your path forward is unstoppable, led with continuous growth and aligned purpose. Chapter 5. Embracing the courage to play by your new rules. Once you realize you're in the driver's seat, armed with a deeper understanding of synergy, readiness, and the universe's quiet pushes, the next question is, do you dare to play by your freshly written rules? Because rewriting the game means stepping onto a stage with different guidelines that might unsettle those around you or even scare parts of yourself that cling to the familiar. Embracing these new rules demands courage, plain and simple. Why courage? Because you're effectively telling your old self and the external world, I'm not doing it that way anymore. If the norm was to keep your head down, you now speak up. If the rule was to hustle to the point of burnout, you now pace yourself, prioritizing well-being. If the standard was to chase recognition, you now measure success by inner fulfillment. Each of these shifts can rattle expectations, yours and others, but that's where the real magic happens. A small action, pick one personal rule that resonates with your current evolution, like I won't compromise on my mental health for anyone's approval, or I'll say yes only to projects that spark genuine curiosity. Write it somewhere visible. Each morning, glance at it, letting it remind you that you've chosen a different game. Then watch how certain interactions test you. Maybe your boss pushes extra tasks, expecting your old compliance. If you stand firm, it might feel awkward at first, but it's also a milestone in living your new rule. Expect friction. The old reality doesn't instantly fade away. The friction can come in subtle forms, like a friend jokingly mocking your self-care routines, or indirect forms, like your family pressuring you to keep traditions that no longer resonate. This is the crucible moment. Instead of defaulting to, I guess I'll just do it, let your new rule shape your response. You might calmly explain your stance or politely decline without offering a lengthy defense. Over time, consistent application cements your new framework. Another key, adopt a stance of experimentation rather than rigid finality. Rewriting the game is fluid. You might revise your rule if you notice it needs fine-tuning. For instance, maybe your original rule was too harsh, cutting you off from helpful collaborations. Tweak it, ensuring it still aligns with your core. This flexibility keeps your transformation dynamic rather than dogmatic. The point is not to lock yourself in a new prison of rules, but to design a system that fosters growth and authenticity. Your new rules aren't just about self-protection. They often liberate you to pursue higher callings. For example, if you set a rule to value creativity over perpetual busyness, you might finally carve out time to paint, write, or build a small side venture. Or if your rule is to seek genuine relationships, you'll step away from shallow interactions, opening emotional space for deeper connections. Each rule is a door leading to untapped potential, relationships, and experiences. Watch how quickly your environment adapts once you consistently act under these new guidelines. Certain people might step away, lack of synergy. Others will be drawn closer, intrigued by your sincerity. Even your daily routine transforms. Suddenly you have more energy, less friction, and unexpected bursts of inspiration. That's the real payoff. You're not draining yourself adhering to external scripts, but fueling your spirit with choices that echo your true essence. Maintaining courage in this realm is like flexing a muscle. Initially, it might feel strained or shaky, but each time you stand firm, refusing to revert to old norms, your confidence grows. You realize the sky doesn't fall when you stand up for your updated self. In fact, life often rewards you with deeper respect. both from yourself and from those who appreciate authenticity. Over time, these new rules become second nature, weaving a reality that's not just better, but more vibrantly you than anything you've lived. Before Chapter 6, when everyday life starts reflecting your breakthrough. After a certain threshold, your daily experience begins to mirror your internal shift more vividly. You might find that mundane routines feel lighter, as if you've plugged into a subtle wellspring of motivation. Tasks that bored or annoyed you might carry new purpose, either because you see how they fit into the bigger picture or you've restructured your approach. The external world gradually aligns with the upgraded internal blueprint you've embraced. Sometimes it manifests in unexpected positivity from others. Co-workers who barely acknowledge you might suddenly solicit your input. Friends might express admiration or curiosity about your newfound energy. Even acquaintances sense that you've undergone a shift. They may not articulate it, but they feel drawn to the aura you're radiating. It's not about becoming a celebrity. It's about resonating at a frequency that people find both refreshing and compelling. A small practice. For 1 week, keep a bright spots log. Each day, note any moment where you felt a synergy between your inner changes and outer life. It could be an effortless conversation, a stroke of good luck, or a moment of stillness where you sense deep peace. At week's end, see how these bright spots outshine any lingering negativity. The evidence can solidify your belief that your daily reality is indeed catching up to your new level. Another sign. Challenges that used to floor you now feel more like puzzles you can solve. You're not naive enough to think everything is easy, but you approach obstacles with an expanded sense of possibility. This shift in attitude becomes self-fulfilling because your calm and creative mindset fosters quicker, better solutions. Over time, these victories boost your sense that life truly is responding to your evolved stance. Relationships also evolve. If you're in a partnership, you might communicate with more honesty and warmth, noticing your partner reciprocates. If you're single, your approach to meeting new people might revolve around shared values rather than superficial checks. This isn't a guarantee you won't hit bumps, but your approach exudes clarity. You're no longer dancing around who you are or pandering for approval. You show up fully, and that authenticity often dissolves petty misunderstandings. In your workspace, you may see your role expand or shift in ways that match your heightened perspective, whether it's being entrusted with leadership tasks, being asked to mentor, or even encountering new job offers. Your environment can sense when you're ready for bigger responsibilities. If your current job can't match your expansion, you might feel an impulse to explore elsewhere, trusting that your skill set and renewed confidence can secure something more aligned. Even your surroundings may reflect your shift. Perhaps you redecorate your home, clearing clutter that represents outdated mindsets. Or you find yourself spending time in places, like nature spots or creative hubs, that feed your soul better than old haunts. As your external life transforms, it reinforces your new baseline, forming a loop of positive reinforcement. The changes in your mindset mold your environment, which in turn supports and magnifies your mindset. Occasionally, you might see glimpses of your old self, like a faint echo from the past. You might slip into a self-doubt pattern momentarily or react defensively in a heated moment. But as soon as you notice, you realign. That quick recovery is proof you're not living in that old energy. You're just momentarily reminded of it. Over time, these echoes fade as your new reality cements itself until the old reactions feel almost foreign. Eventually, you reach a point where your days feel substantially different from how they did a month or year ago. Not that you're floating in bliss 24/7, but there's a baseline contentment and sense of direction that never existed before. The blueprint you've laid out, new rules, fresh perspectives, bolder actions, becomes so integrated that it flows seamlessly into your routine. That's when you know the shift has fully taken root. And from that stage, you see that massive breakthrough was never just an event. It's a lifestyle, a consistent unfolding that continues guiding you toward ever greater horizons. Chapter 7. Navigating the next horizons with confidence and wonder. You've anchored your major breakthrough into everyday life, standing at a threshold. Behind you lies the triumph of a new baseline, Ahead, a vast horizon beckons you to keep growing. Once you've changed the game, there's no going back. Each level reveals fresh possibilities beyond your current imagination. This ongoing journey isn't about discontent. You can and should celebrate how far you've come. But living in wonder means staying curious about what else you can explore. New skills, deeper healing, or stepping onto bigger stages. The universe, seeing your openness to shift, often continues to present challenges that refine your character and expand your reach. Regular introspection helps maintain momentum. Maybe once a month, set aside time to assess how you're applying your new rules. Are they serving you, or do they need small tweaks? Any old habits resurfacing? Viewing your growth as ongoing keeps it from stagnating. You see transformation as a continuous process, not a goal you've already checked off. Remember how your personal evolution can inspire others. As you ascend, those around you, whether friends, colleagues, or online connections, may ask for your story. Sharing your insights humbly allows them to spark their own breakthroughs, making your success a communal ripple that enhances everyone's growth. Stay open to unexpected roles. Perhaps you are a cautious employee who now leans toward entrepreneurship, or you've found a new spiritual drive guiding how you serve. The universe loves shifting your label once you show readiness. Don't pin yourself to old identities. Fluidity is key to rewriting the rules and answering life's invitations. When fresh doubts surface, see them as reminders of how far you've progressed. Old insecurities might reemerge at higher stakes, but you now have proven tools and evidence of past victories. Each new obstacle you conquer reaffirms your capacity. This cycle, meeting challenges, overcoming them, and absorbing new wisdom, marks a life in perpetual evolution, a small action for sustaining wonder. Keep a vision notebook for random sparks, dreams, or projects you aren't ready to tackle yet. As your horizons expand, check the notebook for seeds that align with your new vantage. You'll be surprised at how many half-formed ideas turn viable once you've elevated your game. Finally, accept that your path might not mirror anyone else's. Progress might come through creative leaps, pivots, or faith-driven steps that defy conventional logic. That's the essence of rewriting the rules. Trusting your own alignment over external benchmarks. If people question you, they're reading from an outdated script. You've moved on to a new edition, one that merges your soul's calling with the universe's infinite possibilities. So move forward with confidence, rooted in what you've already integrated, and wonder for the uncharted chapters ahead. This isn't the end of your shift. It's a milestone in a series of expansions that can continue as long as you remain curious and bold. Keep rewriting the rules whenever they no longer serve you, and let each horizon lead to the next, supported and guided by the ongoing brilliance of your unfolding journey.